Good day guys, this is Practiphile and today we are gonna take a look at the DUNU Kima2. Alright, thank you so much HiFiGo for sending this over. Yeah, it's actually my first Kima series. I know that there's like the Kima Classic. I've never heard those. But yeah, I'm glad I heard this because this is a great sounding IM. Yeah, let's take a look at this one here. So as you may have seen in the unboxing, accessories is very good. It does include what it looks to be like a stand of this anime character or something. Not really that fan of the art. Maybe some people will appreciate this, but the cable is really nice. I really like the cable on this. It's great. It's similar to the cable on the Brain Dance, but this one's just probably a little bit thinner. That one's a little bit thicker. It has 4.4 interchangeable connectors. It has a lot of accessories, man, like all the tips you need. It has a good pouch or carrying case. For the price, this is priced around $119 or $120. It's just packed with everything you need. And I like how DUNU include accessories. They just make the purchase worthwhile. Fit is fine. I mean, if an IM company fails on the fit, it's just really, you know, they're done. But I've never really had issues with fit with the DUNU IMs. I think they're very good at that. And this one here, I think their new generation driver. I think it's following the Falcon Ultra, which I really like. I rank that an S. It's a DLC composite dome diaphragm. It does feel, or it does sound around the same level as the DUNU Falcon Ultra, which is, for me, it's really a bang for the buck. So yeah, first I'm gonna do objective impressions first, and after that I'm gonna go on to my scoring. If you want to know how I score IMs, check my video right here. And I will be scoring this based on its price range, and since it's around $119, this falls in my 61 to 120 price category. So yeah, let's move on to the objectives of the sound. So the graph looks like that one there. There's really not a lot of sub bass there. A very good glide from sub bass. There's a little bit of mid bass emphasis. And then the gain, great looking gain. There's really no peaks in the gain, around 3K, and then just slowly declining. No harsh peaks after 10K. The bass, objectively, it's fine. There's just a good balance of sub bass and mid bass. There's no talk in there, so there's just a good balance of it. Vocals are pretty forward, or if not forward, it's just around the same level as the bass. There's no shoutiness, or if you're sensitive to that kind of gain, then maybe this is shouty for you. There's good amount of treble emphasis, and it's not really overdone. As you can see there is, you know, like a steady decline. After 6K is just going down. Does it mean that it's dark? It's not really dark sounding, even objectively. It has good clarity, and you don't really feel like anything of the frequency is boosted. Very quick for an objective take, right? Now, let's move on to my subjective take on this. Because subjective is like, how do I interpret this sound based on my personal preferences and my library? Let's start with the tonality. The tonality on this it's just natural sounding. It's balanced. It's almost close to neutral, but I just tried it with different like sources, and I tried it many times. At first I thought it was neutral, but yeah, it's not really neutral. It's balanced sounding, and it's closer to how the S12 2024s implements the balanced sound. There's no frequency that's overpowering the signature. Just a good balance of sub bass, mid bass, mids, and treble. It's just really good. So tonality for me, I'm gonna give it a 3. It's just really good. Moving on to the bass, again, as I've mentioned, it doesn't really have a lot of sub bass. I mean, when you look at the graph, it looks like, this is gonna be lean sounding, but no, it actually has enough bass compared to my balance target. There's a little bit of emphasis there around 300 Hertz, which is fine for me. I mean, maybe it's giving that male vocals, you know, a little bit of heft and authority. You can't beat a DD bass. I mean, timbral accuracy on DDs is just great, and it just shows that the DUNU Kima2 really is doing great stuff on that area there. So bass for me, I cannot really call it bleeding because the vocals and instruments really have good clarity. Bass, again, I'm giving it a 3. All right, moving on to the mids. Okay, so I'm kind of like a mid-centric guy. I like vocals. I like my vocals to sound forward. Maybe it's too intimate for some people. In here, the mids are clear. It's almost around the same level as the DUNU Falcon Ultra, which is like almost twice the price, and this one's like around 120 bucks, 119. Maybe you can buy it cheaper. It has the clarity of the DUNU Falcon Ultra, but more natural in a way that the treble is not so aggressive, because sometimes for the DUNU Falcon Ultra you feel that, you know, the cymbals, it's a little bit, just a little bit forward in certain tracks, but this one here, it's just spot on. It's just really great sounding. Female vocals sound natural, male vocals sound natural, instruments, guitars, name it. It's just, that's for me. I used to play music before and it's just that good on timbre. It's just great. I got the same feeling when I listened to the S12 2024s and I'm like, oh my god, this sounds so natural. Although the S12 2024s, it has probably more clarity because it has more treble, but yeah, the DUNU Kima 2 is not so far behind. So the mids on this, I'm gonna give it a 3. Moving on to the treble. So looking at the graph here compared to my neutral target, it's not dark sounding in any way. Maybe if people really want that extension in there, maybe this is not for you, but for me, I always look for naturalism and realism. So when you listen to cymbals in real life, they don't really extend. Maybe when mastering and maybe when mixing, it also depends on the microphone placement and the quality of the microphones. It's hard to mix and, you know, master cymbals. Usually they extend it to make the stage maybe more expansive. The DUNU Kima 2, although it doesn't really extend well, at least it sounds natural. So I'll always take naturalism over extension. There are times that extension can sound really good, but most of the time, especially when it comes to cymbal timbre, this gradual decline on the treble always almost works for me. So for the treble, I'm gonna give it a 3. All 3 for now. Moving on to the text. Alright, so text on here. So for the text, I was listening to, I'm probably a bit too old, but you know Kolohikai? They were really popular during my time. If you know what I mean. Everything was just flowing. Everything was just flowing. It's like the DUNU Kima 2 brings you into that space wherein you are in the music. I felt like I was not listening to the music, I was in the music. I look for characters in every earphone. The DUNU Kima 2 has a certain character to it that brings you into the music. It's rare to find those kind of IEMs. Resolution. I'm in for organic sound. If resolution for you is like those treble details, then maybe this is not for you. But for me, I explained it before, resolution for me is how an IEM is timbrally correct, how close the instruments are to sounding in real life. So for me, technicalities, I don't care about like the additional details. This sounds really natural for me, so I'm giving the text a 3. So that's a perfect score. This year, this is my second perfect scored IEM. It's not really following my target, but it did get the gain that I like. This one here deserves the perfect score. I thought of it many times. I was like, I'm scoring this based on its price range, okay? Moving on to comparisons. What do I have here? Probably the first one that comes to my mind is the DZ4. Look at that there. It's almost, the gain there, it's almost identical as you can see. The DZ4 is gonna be leaner in the bass and the Kima 2 is gonna be fuller. That's why if you want maybe a neutral approach, a more neutral approach than maybe the DZ4, because my DZ4 is an S ranker for me. I just find it really great as well. But if you want more balanced sounding, then probably pick the Kima 2. Another one here, of course, it's the Galileo over there. The gain, it's almost similar, a decline in the treble. You see there in the Galileo that it doesn't really have a peak past 10K, and some people actually think that it's dark sounding. The DUNU Kima 2 actually has maybe 15K. There's some elevation there in the treble, but not really spiky. That gives a little bit of treble details just so that it doesn't sound dark. So if you want a smoother replay of music, maybe the Galileo, but man, like the DUNU Kima 2 is just a better sounding. It's just better sounding. I mean, the Galileo is good, but I'm not sure. Maybe I have to change my ranking because it's just great, man. What else do I have here? Maybe the Hexa, because Hexa is also balanced. It's cheaper, but I think the Hexa is more tuned towards the meta tuning. So the Hexa is gonna be leaner and the treble is gonna be a little bit thin. So maybe not a direct comparison there for the Hexa, but if you're curious, the DUNU Kima 2 is gonna be more natural sounding than the Hexa. It's just more natural sounding. If you want treble extension, then probably you can get the Hexa, but man, the DUNU Kima2 is just hard to beat in its price range. So if you're coming from the sub $60, you get the K-Fine Clean. I think the better upgrade for that would be the Kima2. And in fact, I am gonna compare it to the more expensive brother, which is the Falcon Ultra. So this is like going up, one up on its price range, and the Kima2 graphs similar to the gold nozzles of the Falcon Ultra. Look at that. But the Falcon Ultra is gonna have more impactful bass. Sometimes this peak here, there's a little bit of elevation after 10K for the Falcon Ultra. This can be perceived as peaky for some people. Again, the DUNU Kima2 will be a safer pick for people who are sensitive to treble. For me, that's why it doesn't make sense to really go to the Falcon Ultra unless you like more engaging, more bass, and more treble. Then maybe pick the DUNU Falcon Ultra, but just the overall balance, it's just Kima2 still. Another S ranker for me would be the Cadenza 4 from Let's Sure. There, again, similar gain. Man, there you see the consistency there? Like, if the gain is like this from 1K down to 6K, I'm gonna like it, regardless of the bass profile. So the Cadenza 4 is gonna be more neutral sounding with a sub-bass boost, a little bit of sparklier treble, but then again, the Kima2 would sound more natural. It just is. So if you really want like a reference on how instruments sound naturally, I mean, don't take my word for this. If you play instruments, trust your ears. But for me, the DUNU Kima2 is timbrally correct. I've tried it in my metal tracks, any track vocals, Michael Jackson, whoever that is. I tried it. It just sounds freaking natural. Yeah, it's a perfect score. DUNU Kima2. I know what to say. If I had like two faces, I would reveal it twice. The DUNU Kima2 is joining the perfectly scored IM in the 61 to 120 price category. I still have yet to find a perfect scored IM sub 60. I still have to find a perfect scored IM 251 to 499 and so on. But for now, the 61 to 120 is covered by DUNU Kima2, and 121 to 250 is covered by the Let's Sure S12 2024s. If you like my video, consider subscribing or liking, or leave a comment down below if you want me to compare it to other stuff. But for now, natural sounding set, reference balance, reference tonality, DUNU Kima2. See you in my next video.